welcome back to Rudy Truth. I'm Keisha. Today I am here and I want to talk about the Garden of Eden, or the Garden of Eden. Before my spiritual awakening, questions was all I had. I had so much questions about life, about the Bible, about humans, about the universe, about the creator, about some of the stories that didn't make sense to me. And since my awakening, I guess I could say that I have, my understanding has been a little different in terms of sometimes I could just hear random stuff, and some of the things, when I started understanding, the power of the divine, and when you start healing and embodying truth, people will just ask me questions, because me and my friend started dissecting the Bible a little. So she would ask me some questions sometimes, and at first I might not know it. Like when it just started, I might not know it, but then I would just wake up the next day and all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, that's the way it was. It must have meant. And slowly it started to become a thing where, 5 minutes into the conversation, it will come back to me. Now I think I'm at the place where the minute I hear it, it's like, okay, this must be what they mean. So I am just wanting to give a little highlight or a little bit of my own understanding, as everything is, based on our own understanding. And that's why it tells you not to lean onto your own understanding sometimes, because I know that we can really go down some rabbit holes and we can really lean onto our own understanding, and those understanding are not necessarily true or make sense. But as to the Bible and so many things that I was questioning that didn't make sense to anybody, I guess, but because we were taught, not to question or not to seek or whatever, so we just, sit with these stories, and sometimes we just live our everyday life. We don't bother to pay attention to these, these stories and stuff like that. So, coming into this understanding, it's like I am more in tune as to certain things. And I mean, one thing can have, many way of, explaining it. But at the end of the day, it will come back to the same thing when you check out, the real, moral of the story. So the Garden of Eden, I would call it, because it's like living in the material world. That's what they're talking about, Eden or whatever. But because these concepts are not the first man and woman on the earth, Adam and Eve, that represents all of us. It represents the man and it represents the woman. Now, in this Garden of Eden, there are so many things happening every day around us, so many spiritual things that our normal eyes cannot perceive. And, with Eve being, so connected to the divine, I guess, after living a while, even in my own story, you start to wake up to these things and asking all these questions. And then it's like, you dive so deep into something that it's like, now it's like, okay, so it's not just what I'm learning anymore. It's about embodying and, having my own encounter with the serpent and with the divine, and, just with the spiritual realm. It leads you to a part that you understand that these things were not far off. They were just, diluted, or these things were kind of mixed and match, I guess, and just put together in the concept of understanding. And only when you get to that state you will be able to understand these truths. And in my own spiritual journey, I didn't realize that the serpent that we so much demonize, even though you go back to so much truths where they tell you should be as wise as a serpent, but yet still, they demonize a snake at the same time. So it's like there's a lot of things that we don't understand, and the things that we don't understand, we demonize it. But in this story of Adam and Eve, Eve was really the hero in this story, because she was the one to wake up to the coffee, to wake up and say, listen, my man, listen, Adam, we have to do better than this. We have been falling from grace, and we have been, doing a lot of things that is not of God, and we have to find ourselves. We have to separate ourselves from this material world. We have to go learn truth. We have to heal ourselves, and we have to start at zero. We have to let God, shine her light into our lives and teach us the way to live, because we're here and we think that we know how we're living, or we know truth and we know wrong from right. But the fact of the matter is, even though we know wrong from right in certain concept, it doesn't stop us from being those ways. It doesn't stop us from doing bad things. It doesn't stop us from being envy and jealous and hateful and wanting to kill our neighbors and stuff like that. So it's like understanding and learning and trying to embody so that you could change all these ways. And it's like, the serpent, I know a lot of people might not know about the kundalini energy, but if you go on YouTube, you could look up all these things, and the stories are there, the books are there, it's in the Bible also. And I think there's a part in the Bible that said that, I don't remember who was leading them through something, and they were being bitten by snakes and stuff like that. And like the person had prayed, and God told him that to make a brand snake and put it on a pole, and anyone that look upon this snake, even if the snake eat them, they would be healed and they will be fine. So it's like, all these parts are also in the Bible, but yet still, the serpent was demonized, even though other parts in the Bible, the snake was the hero. Just like Eve was demonized, because that's the reason why they had to demonize women, because women is so connected and so have so much intuition and awareness, that it would be quicker for them to, even in cases where a king, or even in the case of Samson, and Delilah, a woman would be the one to get this man to fall from grace, right? So it's like women have so much power, possess so much power, that they don't even understand the level. Men do possess a lot of power too. It's not a thing where you're like, woman is this or man is this. It's like we're not supposed to be in competition with each other. We're supposed to complete each other. And all of us are Adam and Eve, and all of us are Cain and Abel's, and all of us are Mary and Joseph, and all of us are Jesus, just the same. And it's just learning truth and understanding what this story was really trying to tell us, and starting to embody those information, and then you will understand, the secrecy of the Bible, and why things was coded. Because I guess the people, and that's the thing with God, even out of the worst thing, God is going to make sure that the good is interjected. So even though they made it out to be something to keep us down, when you start to learn truth, you will liberate yourself, and you will start to understand some of these coded messages, and they will even help you through your day-to-day life. So that's just my whole take on the Garden of Eden and Adam and Eve. And Eve was the hero. Let me tell you, she was the hero. And even in today's society, we need that woman in that man's life that is going to push him and pull him and help him to learn himself and not to fall from grace. Because men have been taught that they need many wives, and they need to do all these horrible things to prove that they're a man and they're worthwhile. And with that, they kind of push the woman beneath them and act like they're above. And with that, there's a kind of unbalance, and you will lose your wealth for these things, and you will not become wealthy because of these things. So you have to learn that you have to respect a woman just as a woman has to respect a man, and we have to respect each other in that manner. And that's what we're here. We're here for each other. We're here as a witness to each other, and just being in each other's life and being a witness as to what your journey is or what your story is about. And that's the thing. And we're growing every day, and we're learning love, and we're embodying truth. And those emotions that comes up, you have to sit with your emotions, because I know that we have been taught that it's bad to feel your emotions or to be broken or to let people see you in your time of weakness. But I am here to tell you that the moment you start learning how to deal with your emotional struggles, is the more you're gonna become enlightened, is the more you're gonna have understanding, is the more you're gonna have patience, is the more you're gonna have just that love and that peace within you, and compassion to heal from whatever you're going through. And sitting with those emotions is very, very important. You have to make sure that you don't rush through life, you don't rush through your emotions. If you get hurt or somebody make you feel some type of way, sit with that emotion and embody it and understand it and ask questions, and that's how you're going to start to heal. Yes, we have to start to heal from these emotions and all these traumas and the things that are stopping from embodying truth and knowing ourselves. So it's a hard journey, and we just have to start being curious about life and start learning. And I'm on that journey right now. But as I said, the Garden of Eden, don't be fooled by these stories. Don't think any of these stories are far. It's all about us as a human, as a species, as a person. And it's all teaching us about growth, about wisdom, like, the things that people do sometimes that is crazy to us, but to them it's like, the most liberating thing that they has ever done. So we have to start to understand that, what's the truth behind this story. Was Eve really a bad person when she tried to teach or tell her man or husband, whatever it was in those days, like, listen, there's something more going on here than what we understand. There is more to life than we think, and we have to start understanding and start seeking, and not just live in this world blindly and pretend that we know the difference between good and evil, because we really don't know the difference between good and evil, because we do the evilest things every day, and we think that's the right thing to do. We criticize each other, we boast on each other, we talked about each other, we do all the things that we're not supposed to do, all the things that Jesus told us not to do. That's the things that we do. But we have to just start understanding the Bible and knowing what these things mean to us as a human being or as a person, what it means for us. But yeah, there's a lot of information on YouTube. There's a lot of information. The internet is here, and social media is a vast place, and there's a lot of information that we can learn if we are interested. But yeah, anyhow, thanks for watching. Hi, Grant. Thanks for watching. I'm Keisha. Bye for now.